Hey guys, welcome back to the Checker Games tutorial. So in this one, we add some kind of highlight. We had some kind of help to the player that has a force move. Let me actually show you. So we're playing, say, on the white team here, and the white team is forced to do a move. He now has that highlight here around his player because you can't move this guy, you can't move this one. You really have to move the one that has a force skilled. As you can tell, we're moving this here. It disappeared, and now it's the black player's turn. The black player has two moves that he can do, whether it is this one or this one, and we just highlight it. So that's what we do in today's episode, guys, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so I'm not like the best checkers player in the world, but or anything like that. But I'm just wondering right here, there is more chances. I mean, if there is more than two force pieces at the same time, can it even be possible? Because sometimes you end up having some kind of setup where you're allowed to actually use two pieces. Like something of the sort here. This actually happens sometimes. So if we just move this, say, over here, I'm unable to move for some reason. Something like that might actually happen sometimes. So you can use either this one piece or this one to actually do the jump like this. So what would happen in this case is that we have to highlight those two pieces. But now I'm wondering, is it possible for some kind of reason in chess, or I mean in checkers, that there can be three of those? And I really don't think so. So I'm going to take a chance here and actually only plan on having two of those highlight things we are about to make. Right, so what I'll do is I'll just create another object. It's going to be a empty game object. Let's call it highlight. Let's move it at the center of the world, and just beneath that I'll be using something really simple, so just like planes. Now the planes, I'll just make sure they're really small, so 0.1, 0.1 on all axes. Now we have a 1 meter by 1 meter plane. And we'll be putting that right on top, or I mean right below the actual piece you have to move. Now in terms of the material, I'm not sure what kind of material we can give. I'll just give this temporarily. I just give it the checker material temporarily, but we'll have to find something else, maybe something that has alpha through it. So I'm going to be taking this for now, just putting the plane beneath highlight. Doesn't really matter what you call this. I'll just call this one 1 and the second one 2. As simple as that. Now what I'll be doing is I'll go inside of the checkerboards. I'll actually create a public game object for that as well. So public game object highlights highlights container, and we'll actually just assign the container right on it. So board highlight is going to be the container, and here we go, we have this object now. Now what I'm going to do at the very beginning is I'll just iterate through every single of the children. So for each transform t in highlight container dot transform, we'll take all of those and actually position them somewhere else. Now I'm thinking that you can be putting them at like 3000 meter in X, but that's a little bit stupid. Well, I mean, that's stupid in both cases anyway. You can either disable them, you can move them somewhere else. I am going to just leave them beneath the board actually. So I'll say t.position is equal to vector3 dot down. So just 1 meter below the board. We're not going to be seeing it at this point. Or let's do vector3 dot down times 100. And I've just had like a revelation right here. What we're going to do is we're going to add some particle on top of it as well. Why not? And the particle are going to be going up. So we have to put them really far down. Right. So as soon as we press on start, the particles are being moved at the bottom of the scene, basically. Now, whenever we get a forced piece, which is going to be in the scan for a possible move here, if we do get something in the scan for possible move, let's actually highlight them. So I'll create another function for that, private void highlight, and we'll just call it like that. So highlight. And we're going to be calling highlight right before the return on both of these guys. So for this function and also for this other overload. Now, like we mentioned earlier, there can only be two of those. So let's do if force piece at the index 0 exists, then we're going to be grabbing highlight container at the index also 0. Actually, no, this is not an index, this is an object. So get child. Do we have a get child? We have to do a transform dot get child at the index 0 as well. And we're going to be moving this guy using its transform dot position is equal to force piece at the index 0 dot transform dot position. And if we just put it right here, it's going to be in the middle, so that's not going to work. So we need some kind of offset. Now, how big is a piece actually? Let's go ahead and just have a look here. How big is a piece? So if we just want to make sure, it's about 1.25 in Z here. So we're going to drag this 0.1. We're going to be like just moving this 0.1 towards down. So plus vector 3 dot down times 0.1f. So we just put, we put the plane a little bit below the actual middle of the piece. Okay, let's go ahead and just take this again, duplicate it for force piece 1, get child the index 1, and same exact thing. Alright, so just like this, we should actually have something that works quite well. And did I forget anything? I don't think I did actually. I think that's really all we need. So it's the white player turn. We move it here. Oh, right here. Argument out of range. What is the problem exactly? Okay, so the problem here is the fact that the list doesn't really exist at this point. Well, it does exist, but force piece at the index 0 is being tested, which is not something that we want actually. So we'll do something else actually. We'll do something like if force piece dot count is bigger than 0, and in here we'll do if force piece dot count is bigger than 1. And that should actually not crash. So we'll give this another try. Play game, hot seat, that's fine. Okay, now it's the white player's turn. We should have something beneath this player. And here it is, kind of weird. Really some kind of weird mechanic. Plus, we are not getting the right offset either, so something else is going wrong. So the highlight is definitely not at the right place, so we have to do the highlight somewhere else. What I feel like doing actually is at the end of somebody's turn. So where is my end turn? Right here. Then we'll do a check as well, so scan for possible move. And now this time, after the move is done, we should scan again and something should actually spawn right away. So did it spawn? I'm not sure. If we just move this up, or if we just go have a look at the highlights. One of them is position. However, it's like positioned really poorly. It's right here. And the other one is far below. So it is positioned, I just don't see it well. And the reason I don't see it is because my pieces, I didn't really give them an offset in Y, and they should have one. So let's go give them an offset really quickly whenever I move them. So let's go into move pieces. And in the move pieces, we'll do, so that's fine, board offset, piece offset. That's the one we want to modify. So pieces offset. And the one we want to modify is pieces offset. So the offset is 125, so 0.125 in Y. We just want to move this up a little bit. Right, let's go back. Again, give this a try. The pieces, they should be a little bit higher. As you can tell, they are. In fact, they're perfectly aligned right now. If we just go here, as you can tell, something just spawned beneath this guy. And I mean, that's at the right place. It's not too ugly. And once we have the correct texture and the correct color, then you're gonna know that you have to move this one. Nothing else but this one. And then it's the black player turn, and they're allowed to move these two guys. One of them. They're not able to move anything else but the one that have the little highlight beneath it. Okay, here's another problem that we need to fix as well. and that's really annoying actually. I don't want to have to do another scan for possible move here. So what I feel like doing is when we do a try move, and we fail for some any reason really, we are going to add highlight in here. Now I'm wondering if just doing that is going to work. Maybe not. Oh, actually yes it is, because we're moving the piece back here. Okay, so just make sure we add highlight every time we actually have to get out of this function. So here as well, and at the end. Alright. This should actually conclude it. So we go here, okay, we have to play this guy. And every time we move, the highlight is still at the same exact place. So I feel like they should actually, oh, what is this? This is annoying. Alright, we just met another error here where this was not really moved. Actually, just because it stays there every time, and that's really annoying. I mean, the turn is over and it should go back to where it was. So in the highlight function, since we're calling it every time, let's just take those two guys. I'm going to copy and paste what we have here and just move them back to where they should be. So in the highlight function, just iterate on top of those two guys and just place them back. Add vector down times 100. Okay, this works. And it went away. And everything went away. So that's pretty good. And it's really clean actually. It doesn't look, well, I mean the look is still really awful, but I'm actually liking this quite a lot. So every time you're forced to play a piece, now you know, and you know which one to play too, which is quite cool. Let's actually see what it does with the king player, because we're moving the king player a little bit when we flip it, and it's still perfectly fine. All right. Okay, now let's give it an actual good color, an actual good well, not really good color, but you know, an actual texture. That would be quite cool. I'm wondering if we have anything really nice in here, and we definitely don't. I don't think we have. So either quickly do something in Photoshop or maybe use the Unity default one. I don't really feel like doing any texturing right now, but what I could actually do is inside of the update, the actual update here, we could do if or each on every single transform, and we'll do a t.rotate, and we would rotate on, say, the y angle. So let's do vector 3 dot up times 90 degrees every second, something like that. So at least you'd get some kind of movement going on, and that would be good looking, I think. So if we just boot the game by itself here, okay, 90 degrees is definitely way too much. So let's do 90 degrees times time the delta time. So this way it's 90 degree every single second, and that's gonna go like really slower. Okay, something like that. I think we can actually work with this. Now in terms of the texture, I'll just create a new material. Call this highlight. Drag and drop it on top of the object. Of both object, there's two of those. Let's not forget. And in terms of texture, I feel like giving it like a simple texture like that, a UI sprite texture. Then putting that on fade, and we would end up with some kind of result like this, which, you know, still doesn't look too good, could use some work, but at least now we have a texture, so that's pretty cool. Alright, well, I was also saying that we could add some kind of particle, and I think that would be quite cool. So if you guys want to tag along, we're going to add some particle on top of that. So let's do a particle system. Now, I'm not the best in terms of particle, but I mean, it should be pretty easy to have this working. Also, oh, something that we must not forget is to remove the collider on both of those guys. Let's make sure they don't have a collider so they don't mess around with our raycast. Alright, so let's try this. I am going to change the shape for a mesh, and in the mesh I'm going to choose my plane. Now this way we get something like that. And in terms of just the particles themselves, I'm not too unhappy about what we currently have. We could of course modify them because they do look like Unity particles. But we could play around with that, maybe play with the, say, the size over time. Let's do that. Just modify the size so they start really big and they end up really small. Do we need a little bit more? Let's put that on, say, 15. And it could also rotate over time. That would be cool. So rotation over time. Oh well, it's actually sphere, so even though they rotate, we don't really see it. What else could we actually put in here? We're now shooting, but we could be doing this. I actually like this quite a lot. Some stretch billboard. Yeah, let's actually do that. Stretch billboard. Okay. However, there's one of them in the... Okay, no, never mind. I thought that this would be like a particle as well, but that's my canvas. Just doing its thing. So I don't actually dislike that result. Let's actually put it back to where it was. And that's going to be the little particle on top of our object, highlight object. Now, since we have those particles, I actually like the color quite a lot as well. So I'll be changing the color of my material. Where is it? I totally just lost my material for some reason. That's kind of annoying. So when you add a particle system, for some reason it kind of bugs and you don't see your material anymore. So I'll just swap it on the other guy first, and then we'll add the particle system on the other guy. So maybe something like that, like this, and then add the particle system. Going to be copying this guy, so copy component, come here, paste component. And it seems to be shooting, but in a different direction. No, it's actually working. Okay, never mind all off of what I said. Let's actually just move them back, press on play. Hopefully we still get everything. And we do get some kind of result like that. However, it's not really good looking unless you're looking at it this way. Like this would not be too bad, but when you're looking at it from above, you don't really see the particles. I mean, you see them a little bit, but they're really not going in the right direction. Let's actually play with this while the game is playing so I can actually do some modification. Maybe play around with the shape. Maybe cast this in a circle. Now what we need is to actually just have that circle on another axis. So I have a circle like this instead. So what I feel like doing actually is creating another game object beneath that. So maybe create empty, that's going to be the particles. Create a particle system on that. Use this one, do a copy, then a remove. Go here and paste it. Okay, going to disable the second one so I can actually see what's going on. This one, the mesh is fine. Now in terms of the particle, now the shape needs to be a circle, and that circle needs to be a lot smaller like the other one. Now the only difference between this object and the other one is the fact that this one is a full scale, just a normal 1:1 scale, and the other one was a 0.1, 0.1, and 0.1. We end up with something like that if we just scale it down again, which is quite cool. Now, however, what we'd like to do is just make sure that this is on the other axis, so I'll just rotate that like this, and we are pretty much good to go. That's all we really needed to do. Now, in terms of just putting this in the right order, let's just make sure this is below or on top. It's really up to you. I'll put mine below for now, and we'll have something like this. Maybe reduce the size of it, because that might be a little bit too much. So how do we go about reducing the size? I think you just reduce their lifetime. Where is the lifetime? It's over here under particle, and then start lifetime, you reduce that to say 2. So it's gonna last 2 seconds. Right, now I'm going to delete the second one and just copy the first one, name it back to 2. Press on play and we should be able to see this in the game. and not quite for some reason. We're not able to see this. And it is because it's actually below the object. So again, my bad here. But we're gonna end up with something like that once we place it correctly, which is quite cool. So let's just make sure we put this just a little bit higher, maybe like that. And final try. Here we go. So now we have this thing, and it's looking good actually. It's not looking too bad. Except of course for the actual stupid image here. We could be playing with the shader a little bit. We could be making this alpha like that. Just playing with the color. You can do all of that if you want. I'm gonna be leaving mine on something like this, like super white with full alpha, but it's really up to you. That's, you decide how you make your game at this point. And guys, that is where I'm going to end today's episode. We added some highlight on top of the force object, and that's pretty cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys liked the video, and if you did, please leave me a like on the video itself. Helps me out quite a lot. You can also check out the Facebook page, the Patreon page. There is quite a lot of stuff you can check out. And all of those are mentioned in the description below. So if you just want to toggle that, have a look at the links. And yeah, guys, so thanks for watching again, and I will be seeing you in the next one.